Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the BB-Scho. I'm here joined by my all-time co-host, Chen. We're here for Wildcard Weekend Preview. We've got a special episode to bring for you guys. We got a lot on the table today. We're debuting some new segments. We're going to do our regular season award show, along with some added a new segment. We're going to call it Superlatives. We'll bring this back from time to time, but you guys will see. It'll be fun. Then we're also going to obviously do our Wildcard Weekend picks, as well as our Fantasy Frenzy draft, as those season-long contests start to come down to the wire. But to start us off, and I will recap of our preseason award picks before we jump in. Before we jump into our awards here. So preseason, Christian, your MVP was Josh Allen. And I will now give you the floor to name your MVP of the regular season.
I'm so glad you kept the picks because as easy as it would for me to just die on that hill because Josh Allen has a case, I don't think he's going to get it. And the reason being is not only was Mahomes better statistically, I think a lot of people's votes, people are really going to look at, game to game. Josh Allen, there's been times this year it's been a little rough, and when I say a little rough, it's relative to like in terms of the measure he gets marked like as an elite quarterback. Like he didn't have like a 4 or 5 turnover game, nothing disastrous, but I believe he had like 15 picks on the year. He was up there in terms of leaders interceptions, and Mahomes was not there. I think in terms of like leaders of turnovers was Josh Allen, Dak, and Derek Carr. But Mahomes not only has had a more efficient season, he's actually done a lot more with less, which in years past, I was like, wow, he's got Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. And this year is a whole new receiver room. They even added Kadarius Toney, who has been playing a lot of snaps, and he was traded 6 or 7 weeks into the season. So there's been a lot of changes. Running backs are Jerick McKinnon and Isaiah Pacheco. Um, and actually both been playing well, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
In terms of like Buffalo, it's like, well, that team, they got defense, um, more of the same. But like I would definitely say Diggs is a better receiver than anything they have. I know Holmes has got Kelsey, and again, I could see the case for Josh Allen. I just think it's like kind of 1A and 1B, and I think Mahomes edges him out. But I'm open to hearing the other side of this,
Yeah.
or maybe you had
Yeah.
somebody else, man.
No, I do have Josh Allen. And I let the record show that my preseason MVP was actually Lamar Jackson, which I thought
If he was
was he
healthy,
was if he
maybe.
was healthy maybe, but I'll make the case for Josh Allen based on this, and everything I'm about to say honestly applies to Mahomes in the exact same light. But I just feel like Josh Allen carries. I mean, he's the Bills, like if that makes sense. Like uh, he is their run game. He is their pass game. He is their offense. There is no in between. Whereas Patrick Mahomes does not carry the rushing load that Josh Allen does. And for me, that's the difference. I think when you have two elite passers, the best two in the game, would I be surprised if Mahomes got the award? Not at all, man. I actually, if I was predicting based on Vegas odds who I think would get it this year, yeah, I'd probably put my money on Mahomes. But my MVP is Josh Allen, just simply because he's the reason why they're good at all. You put anybody else in that offense, and that team wins significantly less games, including Mahomes, in my opinion, including Mahomes.
That is an interesting take.
And if you put Allen on the Chiefs, they're probably pretty close to the same, if you ask me. But that's well, it's not a conversation for another day because we're having it right now. But that's why Josh Allen's my MVP. But like I said, I think Mahomes is going to win it. The turnover, I can't argue that he does have more turnovers. I'd have to pull up the numbers, but yeah, Allen does. He has thrown a couple more picks that had a little uncharacteristic interceptions this year from Josh Allen from time to time.
Uncharacteristic in terms of last year. When he came into the league, it was kind of a problem because he's got that big arm. He does like to take shots, but so does Mahomes. So it's like, again, both these guys are so phenomenal. I'm not trying to knock either of them. And really, my last thing with Mahomes is they can run the ball when they need to, but in the same breath, there's been moments this year it's like they really don't need to run the ball. Like especially with the Chiefs play design, they do these little like quick pitches. Kelsey or whoever comes in motion, and that's a pass. But like, come on, when you're just basically
Yeah.
flipping it to Kadarius Toney and he goes 20 yards, they run the ball in a completely different way than a lot of teams. And yeah, I'm not really going to push back too much on this. I think ultimately it may just come down to the seeding as well. The Chiefs got that bye, but in the same breath, it's like, well, the Bills missed one of their games. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if that
Yeah.
holds
It's
a
a
whole lot
weird
of weight.
conversation.
Yeah, the Bills are 2 and the Chiefs are 1. So like, I don't think that really makes a whole lot of difference in my eyes either. But I know people are going to bring it up. But yeah, next award, are we offensive player of the year? Is that where we want to
Yeah,
go?
we can go offensive player of the year. I'm gonna be interested to see what you have to say. I will let you know that your preseason prediction was actually also Josh Allen for this one. You had him
That is
winning
funny.
MVP and offensive player of the year. What is your post regular season prediction for offensive player of the year?
Yeah. So it's who I had slotted in was Justin Jefferson. I know a lot of people will kind of look at the MVP award as like a quarterback award. That's fair. I also would say though, like in terms of valuable player, I think Mahomes off the Chiefs, like that they're just gonna go for the number 1 pick at that point. Maybe they're a bit better, but um offensive player of the year, Justin Jefferson, well, before the Packer game, was really close to breaking records, man. And I gotta give, tip my hat to that. It was more closer than I would have liked. Like he still gets the nod, but I actually could see a quarterback in this spot, just due to the fact that he didn't. I thought he was going to go for 2,000. I really was.
Yeah,
I thought he was
yeah.
going to get there. He still had a phenomenal season. I'm not going to take it away. Um, but yeah, in terms of like offensive output, I think Justin Jefferson was the guy. Tyreek Hill had a case until he kind of got hurt in the quarterback situation, but interested to hear your thoughts.
I'm co-signing it. My pick is still Justin Jefferson, despite the slow finish. Uh, I don't think there's another clear answer. I mean, this you are right that
Yeah,
this has turned into the non-quarterback MVP. So I'd be shocked if they were to give this to Mahomes or
the
Allen, who doesn't win
quarterback.
the
Yeah,
MVP. I think that would be dumb because then you're like gatekeeping 2 awards from people based on position.
yeah,
So at least look, I would have loved if he had gotten to 2,000 yards. I would have loved to make the case for him for MVP because I don't like the MVP being a quarterback only award. We've talked about this. I think it's dumb. Who's the most valuable
right.
player in football, right? Who brings the most to their team? But he didn't get to 2K. So I think if Cooper Cup wasn't going to win it, Jefferson with his numbers this year isn't going to win it. So with that being said, he's still my offensive player of the year, by far the best offensive season. It was him and Hill for a while. I did have Diggs in the preseason. So I think Diggs finished like the wide receiver 3 or 4. So
Hmm.
not an awful prediction, but I think that this one probably goes to Jefferson. I'd be shocked if it doesn't.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. That
Defensively,
Yeah, defensive player of the year. So preseason, we both had Micah Parsons, and I have changed my opinion on this one. I am going to go with Nick Bosa. I think that he statistically has made the jump ahead of Parsons. I wish I had the sack numbers in front of me. Poor preparation on my part, but he's had a better season, and I think this is the popular. I think he's the front runner. But I'd be interested to see if you have anything different.
I don't.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
much as
But
I wanted to
that means it's
defend
the
Micah
right pick, right?
Parsons,
Like that means
it
it's the right
is,
pick.
and some of these is kind of indisputable, right? Like look at like Bosa's sack numbers, his fact that he's on the number 1 defense. He's got every really case in the world. Um, I think if someone really wanted to make a case for somebody out of Philly as a team, they had 70 sacks this year. And this is a crazy stat. But of those 70 sacks, 54 came on 4 or less man pressures. Like
Wow.
3 to 4 guys were rushing the passer. I know they run a 4-3, so I'm probably 99% of those was a 4-man rush, but like they were getting pressure without blitzing. I guarantee that was a team thing. I don't think any really individual guy had far and away numbers like Bosa did, but I'm just saying, like if Rashawn Reddick, Fletcher Cox, somebody had the sack numbers, one of those guys could make a case. But yeah, you're on the number one unit in the league, stat wise, and just what Bosa does. I mean, that guy's a monster. So no pushback from me on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that takes us to coach of the year. This one's a little interesting. This might get interesting. I'm interested to see who you have. Your coach of the year in the preseason was Mike McDaniels.
I want to stick with it. I do. The only reason I had to flip it was because they finished 9-8, and really that back half of the season, you can only gauge so much.
It was
Like
ice
you know
cold.
who the quarter, yeah, it was bad. The quarterbacks were in and out of the lineup, and so I'm not going to take the award away from the guy when his starting quarterback was healthy. They lost one game. And honestly, I was questionable about the Nick Sirianni hire initially, especially from like interviews and reports. I thought he was an idiot, and he's turned out to be, in my eyes, coach of the year. I mean, did any of us going into this season, did any of us even pick Philly to make the playoffs? I know I didn't.
I actually
I'm just
had
gonna come.
I had Philly winning the division at the
You
start of the year.
did.
Yeah, I did. It's written
I feel
down in
like
the spreadsheet. If you want me to show you, I was about to go through
I'm
our
pretty sure
division
I had
picks after
Cowboys.
this.
Did I not?
You did, yeah, you did. Which
That's
they won a lot
and
of games.
again,
So
no, not a bad pick, but I just did not expect Philly to go, I don't know,
I
14 and
also
3
picked
like
Indy to
that.
win the AFC South. So and go to the Super Bowl. So
Okay, well, you didn't have to shoot yourself like that in front of the camera. All right, like
I mean, hey, it's all there. I mean, you guys can go look
yeah,
at
like
it.
just, you got the wit, man. All right, like that's the fact you picked Phil. That's I added to my hat because honestly, I know they made playoffs last year. I was really expecting like some improvement, but not a crazy amount. I didn't think this was going to be the team to beat record wise in the NFL. So
So
I got to
yeah,
give him that award.
I'm actually going to stick with my preseason choice for coach of the year. I was teetering between him and Sirianni. I had Sirianni written down, but since you're going to go Sirianni, I'm going to go a different way in order to. I was 50-50, so I feel great about this. At the beginning of the season, I picked Doug Peterson as coach of the year. And I think he's still pretty worthy of that award, man.
I'd say
I
so
wouldn't be
too.
shocked if he gets it, given the fact that the Eagles kind of teetered out to end the season. I think Sirianni's going to get it for the reason you said his quarterback was healthy. They lost one game. But 14-3 is not astounding in the fact that, like, oh, we have to give it to this guy. And a 1 year
Hmm.
turnaround, win the division after the Urban Meyer disaster. That's worthy of the award in my eyes. So, Doug Peterson of the Jacksonville Jaguars, that's one of the few that I have remaining from the preseason as one
Wow.
of my picks.
Yeah, and honorable mention to the New York coaches, Brian Dable and Robert Sala. I love both of them. But the Doug Peterson pick, I would say that is actually very close too, because of the fact that the Jaguars have been a poverty franchise that can usually
Yeah.
hold on to a coach for like 2 or 3 years max. And
Yeah.
I think Doug Peterson honestly might have found a long-term gig here. I think if he goes, Trevor Lawrence goes. Like it's gonna be cool to watch the Jags kind of develop over the next couple of years. But rookies, is that where we're at
Yeah.
now? I know there's
Yeah.
comeback player of the
Yeah.
year and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but rookies,
Offensive
man.
rookie of the year. Our picks, I had Drake London and you had Chris Olave. Two solid picks at the start of the year. I don't think they're going to
Yeah,
win it, but I'm interested to see
no.
where you go with this because I think that there's a case to be made for somebody that I don't think will win the award. I have my pick, but even if I'm interested to see what you say here. So, who's your offensive rookie of the year?
I had him on 2 of my 4 fantasy teams, and the fact he became relevant as a rookie, I got to give that to Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
especially considering your quarterbacks were quite literally dog water the entire year. You went through three, actually, the guy who probably the best game. Nah, it's debatable between Mike White and Joe Flacco. I think Mike White actually probably had his best game last year, but Joe Flacco against the Browns was incredible. Um, don't know why, but yeah, really random in terms of what he had to deal with quarterback wise. But the fact as a rookie, you can come in and establish yourself with that kind of turmoil. He's going to be very good for a long time. And I think he definitely earns that award in my book.
Yeah. Um, Garrett Wilson is my choice. I do have a runner up that I will mention, but to go a
Okay.
1,000 yards with that quarterback situation,
That
I
group,
mean,
it's
Zach
bad.
Wilson, Joe Flacco, and Mike White. He's QB proof. 1,000 yard season with those guys, give him anybody. He might be pushing the Jettas numbers, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Garrett Wilson, I think he's the offensive rookie of the year. However, depending on how things play out, man, I think there could be a case to be made for Brock Purdy,
Brock
which
Purdy.
would be very, very interesting. But I just don't know if he can win the award over Garrett Wilson because he doesn't have a full season. Does that make sense? Like he's
Oh,
got
it totally
X
makes
amount
sense.
of games, and if he could play the whole year like this, he might be, bona fide, right? Rookie year. But right now, I got to lean Garrett Wilson. But who's your defensive rookie of the year? Because we both picked Aiden Hutchinson way back when in September, and he's not my pick. So
No, he is not my pick. And well, real quick, because I'm gonna answer this question, but another obscure stat that I love to find is like this Brock Purdy stuff. I think he's like crap. I don't know the exact number now. I do know though it was like 7 or 8 consecutive games with 2 or more passing touchdowns.
wow.
Yeah, and I feel like that gets underlooked like a lot.
Oh
The
no.
view of the
Hey man. Hey
49ers,
man. I thought about we're prepping for fantasy frenzy. I thought about it, man.
it's
I
something to think
thought
about.
about it.
It's just a guy like the whole narrative. I hear it all the time, and even like ESPN. Well, 49ers will be good. We'll see what Brock Purdy can do, but it's not that hard to throw the ball 5 yards. No, I get they have a great core in terms of CMC, Debo, and Kittle. That's like as good as it gets for a running back, wide receiver, tight end trio. But he's still making the right plays, and they are
Yeah.
more than 5 yard
And
throws. You
he's
can go
not
check the
missing. I mean,
film.
go watch Zach Wilson throw a
Yeah.
football, man. We just named this quiet
Exactly.
out as Garrett Wilson,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Like you can tell when a guy is dealing and wheeling. And Brock Purdy, he's not missing his throws. I mean, he's getting the ball where it needs to be played. But no, defensive rookie of the year. Pan back to that. A lot of these picks, yeah, I know we love to do disparity. I'm gonna be shocked if he didn't take Sauce Gardner. Okay. 54 yards allowed in man coverage this year.
Is that
54 for the
true?
entire year. Go look it up. It is a stat. Even when he goes against the elite receivers, this guy is quite literally a like weighted heated blanket. Like he's smothering you. You're going nowhere. Um, I can't. He honestly has like a defensive player of the year all pro case. Like it has then been that solid. I really think he's a large part of why the Jets were successful, along with great coaching, overall defensive play. But man, he has been lights out. And it is very hard to play corner in this league, especially coming in as a rookie. They basically just got Terrell Reeves 2.0.
Yeah, I have Sauce Gardner. And you've talked me into this, but I don't know if they're going to give both of these to the Jets players. If you
It
get
sounds
both
weird,
rookie,
but they kind of earned it.
yeah, they
That
did.
was an amazing class.
The guy that I'm still teetering back and forth on, maybe getting it is Pat Surtain the second.
He wasn't a rookie.
He's what? He's
I don't
drafted
think he's a
in,
rookie, man.
dude. Well, that'll decide it for me. Um,
Didn't he get
Pat
drafted last year?
Surtain draft class. Yeah, 2021.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dumb.
It's all good.
That's
It settles
embarrassing.
it. It settles it.
That is
Because no,
embarrassing.
he was. If I'd
That's
say all pro
embarrassing.
corners, it's like Pat Sertan and like Sauce Gardner kind of like nudging him. But Yeah, I didn't pick him because
That's
it's
embarrassing.
this isn't the Ben Simmons award. All right,
Oh, that is embarrassing.
can't miss
All
a
right.
you can't play a season
Can't
and
read,
miss it and
apparently.
be a rookie.
I
Yeah,
can't
no,
read.
no worries, no
Yeah,
worries, man.
Sauce Gardner then. Not even close. Comeback player of the year. That brings us here. You had Saquon Barkley in the preseason, and I had Christian McCaffrey.
I'm glad I called that. I'm actually really glad I called that. Yeah. I wish I would have called it my fantasy picks because I actually stayed away from Saquon because I was scared of how he burned me. But yeah, that's gonna hold for me, man. I mean,
Me too.
it just because he's a running back, I think he just kind of fell off towards the end of the year because they were using him so much. I do think actually Daniel Jones is playing a little better as of late, though, to alleviate some of that, hopefully for the playoffs. But yeah, he was phenomenal as well. I'm not gonna push back on my own
Saquon is
pick.
my comeback player of the year. I know I had Christian McCaffrey in the preseason, but and that's still a decent pick.
It's
But
close. Yeah, it
Saquon
is.
has reminded us why he is the rare generational running back talent, if that makes sense, man. A
No
guy,
doubt.
a running back who might
Saquads.
actually prove to be worth a top 5 pick. But I do have a question. Did you do most improved player? Or is
Mm,
that you did? Okay. Because we did not do it in the preseason. So, but who's your most improved player? 2022.
Geno Smith. I mean, anytime you go from a backup to a Pro Bowl quarterback, and even before that backup, like he didn't write back. We say this all the time, but like he was written off. Like the Jets picked him in the second round because there was even doubt, and then all those doubts kind of proved true because he was with the Jets, who at that point were such a dysfunctional franchise. And look, he just had a career year. He balled out. He needs to get recognized for it.
Yeah, I'm glad we went different here. I was teetering between two guys, and honestly, Gino didn't even come to mind.
Interesting. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was right away from me.
which is very interesting. I ended up settling, and this is crazy to me, but I ended up settling on Danny Dimes. Okay, um,
That's very good too.
he has 5 interceptions on the year, by far his best of his career. Last year he had 7. He's shown consistent improvement every single season. However, last year he threw 7 interceptions, had 10 touchdowns, and this year, with absolutely no receiving help, he threw 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Not that many touchdowns, but
Rushing
3,200.
numbers too, though.
Yeah, 3,200 yards, 67% completion percentage. And to take care of the football with those receivers is brutal. The biggest piece of improvement from last year, though, his QBR last year, 41.5. This year, 60.7, a career high. His passer rating went up nearly 10 points. He was still getting pressured and sacked almost just as much as every other year, but didn't turn the ball over as much. So
Right.
he's my most improved player, man, and I think they need to roll with him. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. We could talk more about that in the offseason, but I do want to mention the other guy I did teeter back and forth with was Justin Fields, who has turned into an absolute superstar, in my opinion. And we will, in the coming weeks, have the discourse over why, for some reason, there are people in the media suggesting the Bears should take Bryce Young with their first overall pick.
I was just about like quick like off script, like detour. Like I was even talking about a friend at work today. There's no way as like an
No,
NFL
they're not.
GM you do
They're
that,
not. They're
please.
not doing it.
Like
And
I even
honestly,
told him
I
he was
seriously
like, "Can
think
you believe this?" And I'm like, "Dude, there's no way it's not just a blowing smoke thing. Like there's no way it's not the Bears trying to improve their leverage and being like, yeah, we might
I
take
don't even
Bryce
know.
Young,
I don't even
Texans,
think it's the
Colts, come and
Bears
move
that are
up."
saying that. I don't. I think it's literally just random folks at ESPN.
Ryan Poles left the door open. He did. They
I
did an
what I
interview,
did
and
not read that as that.
that was my takeaway.
What did
Was
he
if
say?
some
What was the
he
quote?
said if so, he's like, like we have our guy and Justin yada yada, but like we're gonna do our due diligence. Like nothing's off the table with the number 1 pick. And so like essentially that's like
That to
we're
me
riding
is
with
him
Fields,
leveraging him.
but
Is him leveraging that. But what the media is
exactly.
saying is there are actual people on television and Twitter and TikTok suggesting this is the best choice. And to that, I say I think your platform should be revoked because it's
Absolutely. I actually
embarrassing
think
take.
Fields is a better prospect. That
Yeah.
might be a hot take, but
No, no, he's not. Why would
you
you
say
go with
it's
a guy
not
who's
a
never
take,
played?
bro, but like look
Yeah.
like people
They're
like
not.
Bryce
Look.
Young, like
Let's pump the brakes. Me and you both know they're not going to do that. And if they do, as a
better
Packers
not, man.
fan, it would be the most hilarious thing I've ever seen out of the Bears. And I would believe our
Oh,
friend Jake would agree. But that'll be
oh,
our
we'd all
initial
be
story.
laughing,
We can
man.
talk
We would
more about this.
all be,
We can
yeah,
talk more about
no,
it come the off season. But let's
absolutely.
move on to our superlatives. So basically, it's a new segment. I picked this up off of I don't know where I got that. It might have been TikTok, but this idea, we come up with awards, we make them up. It's like senior superlatives at the back of your yearbook, right? We hand them out. We could floors wide open.
Yeah,
So I'll give you the floor first. I've got about 8 or 9. Might not do them
I'll say
all.
you can
So
start. I know you won't,
okay,
but you have more, so I'd like you to go first,
okay,
just
okay.
for alternation.
Well, I'm going to start it off easy. I'm just going to go with my favorite moment of the year. One of my favorites. Many to
Hmm.
choose from. Many to choose from. But I think the one that I saw circling Twitter the most was that primetime game when Andy Dalton threw that pick six, and there was that GIF of him like ripping off his chin strap while the Cardinals player is like front flipping into the end zone right behind him. Just a perfect
Yeah,
camera shot. And to that, I say to the cameraman, the camera shot alone was enough. One of my favorite moments of the year. So I gave it the award, my favorite play of the year. Justin Jefferson's
nice.
catch, also up there, but this made me laugh more because it's the Red Rocket. So,
Yeah. No, shout
yeah,
out to that cameraman.
yeah.
Um, my first award on the list is the Bill O'Brien Award, and that is going to be for the worst trade of the season. For those needing historical context, Bill O'Brien traded a bag of chips and a soda pop with a washed-up fantasy superstar for DeAndre Hopkins. Um, don't know why you just give away DeAndre Hopkins like that,
It's about
but
to happen again, but you know.
yeah, and you know what? Hopefully, it's gonna be so funny if the Cardinals get more compensation with an older DeAndre Hopkins. But anyway, I digress. Worst trade was by far the Broncos this season trading for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
My hot take is it's actually gonna look a little bit better for them next year, given they kind of ironed some things out. But the expectations were monumental. They even signed the guy to a huge extension before he played a game. And until week 17, Russell Wilson literally had more toilets in his house than touchdowns on the season. So, considering they gave up their pick this year, which is going to be really high now, I believe like 4 or 5, it's up there. The Seahawks fleeced them, which is
Yeah.
crazy because at the time it didn't actually even feel that way. It kind of actually still felt like the Broncos might have won it, but that is by far in my eyes the worst trade of the 2022 NFL season.
That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. I would like to present the Le'Veon Bell Award.
Oh
That
no.
being somebody who royally screws up their situation to Devonte Adams for absolutely screwing himself over by just having an ego and thinking he can, thinking he's in the NBA when it comes to player empowerment and choosing where he can play, because that's not how the NFL works. And he wanted to play buddy buddy with his college buddy who just, uh, you know, tweeted out today a thank you letter to Raider Nation. So, congrats, Devonte Adams, on the Lev Bell Award.
Yeah, and wow, doesn't get much worse than that. Numbers wise, he was great, but
Yes, yeah, he did get his
if you
numbers,
wanted
man,
anything
but
more than that,
he ain't
it's
winning a
not there.
championship anytime soon.
Yeah, that's really the bright spot is you're in Vegas and your numbers didn't technically suffer. But yeah, no championship is in sight. Next award I got, sticking with the running back for the name, is the Justin Forsett Award.
What is
And a lot of people like, what is this even? Justin Forsett was a career backup with the Seahawks, the Jags, and probably teams I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But in like 2016, bro ran for 1,000 yards with the Ravens during the Joe Flacco days. Had like he made a Pro Bowl that year, and no one acknowledged it. The next year, I believe he got hurt and then was out of the league. Like everyone just forgot this guy kind of popped off, and he never got a chance to do it again. So essentially what it is honoring the underrated players of the NFL. And it may not be as underrated as of late, but definitely during the season, given his consistency, I'm going to give this to Christian Kirk. He's got
Mm,
1,100 yards on the year, 8 touchdowns, best his career season. And in terms of what the Jaguars have had at wide receiver one, I think the best guy to do something close to that might have been back in like Jimmy Smith era and even like
wow.
Justin Blackman for a stretch. But Christian Kirk has solidified himself as wide receiver one. And I know right away if this was the reverse, like he had a bad season, everyone would be all over it because he signed a 4-year, $84 million deal that at the time everyone was like, well, this is a wide receiver two, maybe borderline three, and you're giving him wide receiver one money. But he's established himself as a wide receiver one in an offense that is getting better week to week. They're one of the hottest teams in the AFC. And I still feel like people sleep on him when this guy's a dog and he's still young. Like he's only going to get better from here. So he
Solid,
gets the
solid award.
Justin Forsett award. Yeah.
Solid award.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Christian Kirk, for your contributions. So I have another award, but I'm going to save that one. And I'm going to present the Best Touchdown Celebration Award sponsored by Randy Moss and Joe Buck. So if you
Nice.
understand that, yeah.
That's a disgusting act. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to present it. This actually just happened to Joe Mixon and the Bengals offense for doing a coin flip in the end zone after the NFL said that a coin flip would decide if they won their division or not, given that they lost their Week 18 game against the Ravens. So congrats to Joe Mixon for the Best Touchdown Celebration sponsored by Randy Moss and Joe Buck award.
Fascinating. And lovely, the historical, the names, the backstory is what really makes these awards, right? Next up, the Josh Rosen Award.
Oh gosh.
And this is going to be a QB that, I mean, and why Josh Rosen gets the title.
I already know who this is going to
in his first season. Do you? Do you? I think you have an idea because there were some names. All right. It's not Baker Mayfield.
That's not who I thought was. That's not who I was thinking.
It's not Mitchell Trubisky.
Also not who I was thinking of.
Okay. I put down Marcus Mariota.
Oh, I thought you were going to give it to Zach Wilson.
Great guess, but I think just because it's the Jets, they're going to give him a shot this year.
They did come out. They did come out and say that we still believe in him.
Right. Just because he's young and it's the Jets, he's going to get an opportunity. I think Marcus Mariota, you are borderline insane if you go into the season and are like, we're going to give this guy a starting shot. The Falcons were winning games with him, yes, but his numbers were not the reason they were winning. His play, not the reason they were winning. Even people were like, at one point, and it was a primetime Thursday night game against Panthers. Did he just make the worst throw that didn't count in NFL history? Like he was like falling down, just threw it up in the air. They got lucky. There was like a rushing passer or whatever. Man. And just his age and what he provides. I mean, he's basically what Jeff Driscoll did for the Texans. It's like you bring him in on gadget plays or whatever, but his running ability is what's good. He's just a tall running back at this point. So I don't think any team gives him a starting shot. He'll just get lucky if somebody gets hurt.
That's a solid award choice. You know, you've made the case, and
hey, nobody tops agree. Josh Rosen, man. You start your last game in your first season as a 10th overall pick when you said there was 9 mistakes made ahead of you.
Oh, you know what, man?
That's award material.
I still there's a level.
He
to
might
the
still
Josh
be able to
Rosen
play.
Situation. I feel like he was extremely slighted by just
absolutely
Cardinals management. Did not give him any time to develop. And I don't even think he was that bad. That's the thing. Like when he was on the field, it was kind of like, he's a rookie. He wasn't like Zach Wilson was this year, where it was just like appalling to watch him play football, right? Like he was, you know, I'm not saying he was great, but he was not like this Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell type bust that the Cardinals management made him out to seem. But I'm going to keep it moving, and I'm going to present the Hindenburg Award. So for those of you who don't know, the Hindenburg was a blimp that exploded. So I'm giving this award to somebody who has gone somewhere and completely blown up everything that was happening before they arrived there. So congrats to Josh McDaniels for completely blowing up the Raiders organization and shattering it
Wow.
into pieces of what it once was. And I look forward to seeing how next year plays out for Mr. Josh McDaniels and the rest of the Raider organization.
I can't even argue with that, man. You go to a team that's a playoff team and you add Devontae Adams, and you're supposed to be an offensive guy, and you guys still stink. Yeah, it does get much worse than that. Quarterback's gonna be gone. Brutal beat. Next up, the Monty Ball Award, which for those that don't play fantasy, there's something that just I don't know why it's been posted in my head every time I go and draft. But when I was doing a Yahoo league with my friends back in the day, it was like the year Monty Ball, like after he got drafted,
We
he
all
was on
thought he
that
was,
Peyton
yeah.
Manning. Yeah, he was the 8th or 7th overall player and did nothing that year and then was out of the league the next season. So it doesn't get much worse than that, especially for Dynasty League owners. But given I picked this guy, well, even worse, spent most of my money on this guy because we had an auction draft for our Dynasty League. Jonathan Taylor, take a seat. You know, I'll throw you the award.
Wow.
I know if you get up and try and run and come get it, you might get hurt. I just, and this might be some just personal bias, but how they went so far backwards, and part of it was him just not producing. I just don't understand. A guy that
Wow.
young didn't have an injury history really before this year. Sucks, man. But yeah, considering he's a consensus #1 overall pick and like his best game this year, he might add 17 or 18 points. Yeah, still mad, and he can take that award. All right,
Najee
Mr.
Harris,
Monty
also a
Ball.
solid contender for this one. Yes.
True, but at least he stayed through the season. Like he was
Yeah.
available and
Yeah,
popped
that's
off a bit
true.
towards the
That's
end.
true.
Like Jonathan Taylor did nothing, man.
So, all right, I got an award that similar vein, but I would like to present the Terrell Pryor Award. And
Oh,
this award goes to the best single season fantasy, single game fantasy performance from the most random player possible. So,
oh,
what this
okay.
constitutes is somebody who goes off for absolutely no reason and never does it again. I would like to present the Terrell Pryor Award to Week 3 Khalil Herbert, who went, as I read this, for 30.9 points, finished as the RB1, had 20 rushes for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns with 2 catches and another 12 yards for a combined total of 30 points, like I said, finishing as the RB1. He never once again finished higher than the RB15, and he only finished higher than the RB20 2 more times after that for the rest of the season. So the biggest one hit wonder possible is Week 3 Khalil Herbert. And for those of you who don't
That
know,
is.
Terrell Pryor did this too way back when he randomly went off. I don't even think he scored that many points, but it was more like a one
Oh,
play.
he had like a 95-yard
Yeah.
touchdown run. I remember I streamed him because Rogers was on bye back in the day. Um, wow, yeah, great pick. Even as a receiver, he had a random 1,000-yard season with the Browns. But
Just a random player who would do random things
yeah,
worthy
yeah,
of an award name.
uber talented. Yeah, the consistency was not there. My last award I got is the Leon Lett Award, and for those historical people out there, you probably already know where this is going, but Leon Lett is famous for really 2 plays. The Dolphins fiasco, I believe it was on Thanksgiving Day, where the Cowboys blocked the kick and he decided to try and pick it up in a winter snowstorm. You can imagine how that goes coming from a defensive lineman trying to scoop a ball up in that kind of weather. And then in the Super Bowl, on the biggest stage, with like 60, 70, or I think it was like, in terms of return for him, right? It was like 50 yards. And he got hawked down by, shout out to Coach Don. Yeah, penguins can't fly, ostriches can't fly, pigs can't fly. He can fly. All right. He hawked him down from like the 15-yard line. Like It was absurd and really a great effort play. But Leon Lett was the bonehead for stopping his run like 10 yards when you are a defensive lineman. Like, know your role. Don't stick the ball out like your prime time. And he fumbled the ball away. So, bonehead play. And this really does, he fumbled the game away. Jacoby Myers decided to just chuck the ball when the game was tied, I might add,
Yeah, we all knew that
back
one.
to his quarterback. Which, for those that didn't see the play, go look it up. I'm sure you did if you watched any football this year. And it cost them the ding game and honestly a playoff spot because if they win that game, they're in the playoffs right now.
Yeah,
Plain and simple.
yeah,
So
that's very
doesn't
true.
get more boneheaded than that.
Yeah, that's very true. I also did a Leon Lett award, but I have a different winner. My Leon Lett award winner, he's Josh Allen and his center for fumbling the snap when all they had to do was take a knee to win the game. So while I think Jacoby Myers is probably a better pick, let's not forget that they fumbled the game away when they were taking a knee. So yeah, I have a couple more awards. I've got let me count two more actually. So or three more. This one's really quick, but I would like to award the Tank for Tua award to the Chicago Bears. They were the best team. They successfully pulled off one of the better tanks in history. They had the most cap space and the number one pick. And an honorary mention, honorary thank you to former coach Lovie Smith for that one. I also would like to present the Brett Favre Award, sponsored by the New York Jets, to Aaron Rodgers and Brian Gutekunst, because history's about to repeat itself. So just like Favre got ran out of town and went to the Jets, Rodgers might do actually just that because the Jets are in the market for a quarterback, and that's all they need. But we'll see. Unreal. And my final award, I don't know how we didn't think of this, but the Best Gritty of the Year award. So we had to do this. The Gritty is taking over just like the dad did way back in the day. But and this is, I just want to clarify, this is me making fun of this player. But Jair Alexander in week 17 decided
wasn't Mike Gesicki. All right.
No, it wasn't Mike Gesicki. That would have been the worst gritty. Jair Alexander grittied all over Justin Jefferson like 3 minutes into the first quarter after breaking up one pass. And it made no sense at all whatsoever and was rather embarrassing to watch. So Jair Alexander, Mike Gesicki, honorable mention. That was, that I don't know if I can give him Best Gritty award just based on the product. At least Jair was a decent day.
Oh, it was gritty in terms of the context. So early in the game against Justin Jefferson, who kind of I won't say made it famous, but did it a lot, since he's been in the NFL.
And I do want to clarify, I am making fun of Jair for doing this in the first quarter because it was stupid.
Yeah, it's classic DB, man.
Yeah.
I saw it was 45-7 and a TCU defender broke up the pass. And he was like, it's like, you are down 38 points, my guy. Oh, jeez. Good stuff.
Yeah, that was a fun segment. We're going to have to do that again. Maybe come.
NBA will definitely
come the NBA. That was.
Can't wait for those.
So that takes us to Fantasy Frenzy for this week, Wildcard Week. So we want to clarify the rules with you guys and where we're at in the standings. Actually, I forgot. We're going to rewind really quick, guys, and recap our division winner picks from the beginning of the year. So to start out, who do you think you predicted to win the NFC North at the start of the year?
Packers.
Yes, we both picked the Packers. We both lost that pick. How about the NFC South?
Buccaneers.
We both picked the Buccaneers. We did. As for the NFC East, we already went over this. I picked Philly. You picked Dallas, so I got that one right and you didn't. NFC West, do you recall who you picked?
Was it the Cardinals or is the Rams?
You did pick the Rams, and
That's a miss.
I did pick San Francisco. I did. So I got out to an early lead, but the AFC North, I talked about this a lot all year. I had the Ravens. And you did have Cincinnati. And then we both missed on the AFC South because Tennessee did not win because I had Indy and you had Tennessee. And then the AFC West, it's not my worst pick. I could have picked Denver. I picked the Raiders. I picked the
Eh,
Raiders, and I remember this discussion, man. We were like, dude, anybody could win this. This is insane. This division's gonna be stacked. Yeah, we were, man,
Oh,
man,
how the
oh
mighty
man,
fall.
yeah, man, oh man. But you did pick KC, so solid pick there. And then we both did
Okay,
have
okay.
Buffalo winning the AFC East. So we both went 4 for 4 and 4. So 4 for 8 on division picks. So interesting that we tied
Nice.
again. But as for Frenzy, before we move on, I am 5-9 currently. To tie it out at 9-9, I would have to win the Super Bowl. I know we did miss a couple weeks in there, so next year will be obviously a little bit different. But I would have to win every week. But the real contest of Fantasy Frenzy is the total score. I'm currently at 1,795 points, and you're at 1,860. So it's very doable to make this comeback. And we have altered the rules a little bit for the playoffs. So previously in the regular season, any player who was drafted the week prior could not be drafted for 2 consecutive weeks. That is no longer the case in the playoffs due to the limited pool selection of players. However, the previous loser still does get the first overall pick the following week, and every player will be available every week, given the fact that we are just eliminating players based on it being the playoffs. So,
Hmm.
with that being said, I do have the first overall pick, and I have made my decision here. I think this is a very the strategy is going to get very interesting here down the stretch. But I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey. I think he's the best running back available. I think he's the clear cut RB1 this week, and I can't see any higher position premium than him.
Yeah, that's a in terms of position premium, that's valid point. Um, I'm really debating. I'm gonna go with Eckler with some bias. I was really debating kind of, just hedging, going with the receiver kind of, but I'll kind of do a little back and forth here. I'll go with Austin Eckler. I'll get him as the RB1. He really came in clutch in one of my fantasy championships. So I'll keep riding with him.
Solid pick. Eckler had him on my list. I'm going to follow that up. I feel like this is a pretty obvious pick, but I'm going to follow up with Justin Jefferson. Slow start to
Mhm.
the week, but he's going to be just getting spoon fed against the Giants, medium tier secondary. So, but if the Vikings are going to win, he's going to get the ball. So, Justin Jefferson.
All right. All right. No, it's a solid pick. Really, oh, man. There's still a lot of talent on board. I think that's what makes this kind of interesting.
It does.
I'm gonna go with Stephon Diggs. Just gonna keep copycatting. Uh, I mean, they pretty much got traded for each other. Granted, Justin Jefferson's definitely in a better year, but just hoping game flow wise, Diggs gets something better. I don't really know though. I could really. The Vikings are probably gonna need to pass a lot. That's gonna be a close game.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to follow that up with Jamar Chase. Big stage, Joe Shiesty. He's been having good games. And Jamar Chase is his number one guy, right? And Jamar Chase, about this time last year, erupted throughout the end of the regular season and the playoffs. And I think history is going to repeat itself. So, in a division matchup, against a team who runs a lot of man coverage, too, Jamar
Mm.
Chase.
So this is why I'm gonna go different. No Saquon Barkley. I'm gonna cap out my running backs
Oh.
here. Um, I don't love Vikings defense. I don't think the Vikings fans even love their defense. And he should be due for a decent day. Even if they're throwing, it's not like Danny Dimes is anybody else to throw to. So yeah, take Saquon Barkley here.
Solid pick. I'm going to follow it up. This is a little bit of a risky play, but I feel like he, on the big stage, has always produced. But he's going to have a rough quarterback situation. But I don't think we're going to get a chance to use him after this week. I'm going Tyreek Hill for my flex spot here. I just think he's too good not to give you a chance to grab. So I know he could go low, but the eruption is there. If he goes off, I think I win the game. That's really that's how it usually goes
Okay.
with Tyreek Hill.
All right. Oh, it's a good pick. It is a really good pick. But this is gonna line me up for my curveball of
Oh
curveball of
boy.
the frenzy.
Oh
I'm gonna go
boy.
quarterback. Because personally, when I look at the matchups this week, first of all, I don't actually really love quarterbacks in the wild card round right away. I think it's the first playoff game. There's a lot of jitters. Like first quarter, they usually don't even get a lot of points. But considering our conversation earlier, how this guy's literally their run game as well as their pass game, I'm going to take Josh Allen off the board.
Yeah,
I just,
that's a good pick, man. He was
yeah,
my QB1.
yeah, in playoff setting, there's not going to be a point where the Bills are going to take their foot off the gas. And I already grabbed Diggs here, so I'm basically just going all in, hoping the Bills run away with this thing.
Yeah, that's a good pick. All right, so I'm decided on position here. I think I got to take my RB2 to star view of players, but I don't quite know which matchup I like better. So let me think about this out loud a little bit. They're playing them, and they're playing them. Division matchup. Um, Got to take a risk here, go either way. I'm going to lean towards this because of who I think I'm going to end up taking at quarterback. I'm going to grab Dalvin Cook. I really hate this pick, actually. You know what? No, he's terrible. I'm going to
Oh,
take Joe Mixon instead, and ride with a guy who's been more productive, less of a handcuff like Alexander Madison, that sort of thing, but also Joe Mixon or sorry, Dalvin Cook has like scored like 2 points last week and multiple times this year. And I don't like him for fantasy. I really don't. I don't think they use him very well anymore in this new offense. So I'm going to go with Mixon.
interesting. Very interesting. I'm actually, as much as you just crapped all over him, and I'm gonna go with Dalvin Cook. Yeah, I'm gonna go with him in my flex spot. I don't love it because it's really everything you just listed. But I also think it's a playoff game. I'm hoping Kevin O'Connell's not an idiot. He's gonna realize in order to beat this Giants team, especially the way they manage the clock, the way they play football, you got to be able to run the ball as well. So go with Dalvin Cook. But yeah, I really love it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
for sure.
I can understand that. I can understand that. All right, I'm gonna. I don't know how this guy hasn't gone off the board yet. I'm taking George Kittle. He's just run an absolute tear ever since Purdy took over, and I gotta grab him. You know, that's the bottom line. It was between him and I'm assuming you're gonna take this other guy, but back to you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna hold off the tight end for now. I do want to solidify my wide receiver too and get Keenan Allen, who actually had a very good game last week. Love that he's back and solidified as the wide receiver one, and with Mike Williams probably being out, just gonna get a lot more looks. So yeah, really no justification beyond that.
Yeah, I'm going to grab my defense here, and this is very interesting because there's few matchups that I really like, but the Bills going up against a third string quarterback I think is too good to pass up, and that's why I'm taking them a little early. I'm not pressing it though because you already got your quarterback, so I'm not risking anything like that. So I'm going to take Buffalo's defense against Skylar Thompson and division opponent.
Nice, nice. No, yeah, it's definitely was on my list because that Dolphins could be in case of a disaster here. Things don't uh things don't work out. But tight end wise, I'll just take TJ Hawkinson off the board.
That's what I thought you'd take.
Yeah, I just need the consistency. Even if Dalvin busts, I'd be kind of shocked if Hawkinson does. He usually at least gets a couple looks a game, so not a whole lot of thought behind
Yeah.
that.
I'm going to grab my kicker. This could be a little bit of a risk, but he's known for hitting the big kicks all last postseason. Kind of willed his team into the Super Bowl. I'm taking Evan McPherson, baby. I know he's had a little bit of a struggle this year, but playoff time, I think he's got that clutch gene, and he's going to matter for the Bengals, who I believe are going to go on another run.
Yeah, Evan Money McPherson. I got the 49ers defense, number one unit in the NFL.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Seattle can be good, but they've been very bad against the 49ers
I
this
was
year.
taking
So
the Niners if it weren't for Skylar Thompson. That's
fair take. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And then to close it out, you still got to grab your kicker, but I'm taking Joe Shiesty. No hesitation. It was between him and Josh Allen. And in a big
Yeah.
game against a division opponent, I mean, who do you want other in the big game other than, Joe Cool, right? Like,
Very true.
I
Very
am
true.
nervous about having three Bengals on my team, but that's what happens when there's only 6 games. So,
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna get even dicier as we keep
Oh, it's gonna
going.
get really dicey.
Uh, but oh, that next kicker slot.
I'm already writing down what you're gonna put.
Yeah, who am I gonna take? No, 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 it's Graham.
It's
And
Graham Gano.
anyone that's watched the show, what, why is it so easy? Just receipts. All right, he's the money
Receipts.
hog here.
Receipts. No Justin Tucker this week. Very, very interesting. Oh
It's
man,
Graham Gano, man.
I didn't even think about Justin Tucker actually. He could hit like
Bro
a
hit from
60 yarder.
63. Yeah, all right. Like if Gano can hit from 63, eventually he'll catch Justin Tucker.
All right. All right. To close us out. All right. And I guess we could have done like a March Madness bracket for this, but we're going to go game by game because that's what we've been doing all year long.
Yeah.
Picking the games one by one and tallying it up. And after 18 weeks of NFL games, we both have 160 correct picks and 111 wrong picks. I don't know the mathematical odds of that, but that is just truly astounding to me. But to kick us off, I'll go first. The first game that's going to be played on Wild Card Saturday, the Seahawks at 49ers. I am not thinking twice about this. I will be taking the team that's won 10 straight. I would assume you are as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna think this one. Seattle's been really bad against the Niners this year. Sorry, but there may not be a whole lot of variance given it's the wild card round. Some of these higher seeds, I think 49ers would have had their way with anybody that got that seventh spot.
That's very fair. Very fair. I'll toss it to you for the next game on the docket. Chargers in Jacksonville. Good luck. This one is
in Jacksonville. This
I
thing
have
is
no
so
strong
typical for the
convictions.
Chargers to win, man, or to lose. But I also feel like every time I take the Jaguars, they lose. So it's really a I don't even
A
know.
lose-lose situation.
Yeah, it is quite literally a lose. I think if the Chargers lose this game, Brandon Staley's done, and not having Mike Williams there, it is gonna hurt. And in fact, it was early in the season, yeah, but the Jaguars not playing their best ball, and they still blew them out in Los Angeles, which I understand is not a huge advantage, but just given everything that's going for them, I'm going to take the Jags. I understand record wise they're not there. I just think this team is playing better than the Chargers as of late.
Yeah, I'm not basing my pick off yours in any sense here. I've been riding the Jaguars for a long time. I kind of wanted you to take the Chargers because I'm leaning Jaguars in this game. But
Yeah,
this is one I could see going either way because both teams are very hot. But when it comes to these low division, those division winners that weren't, didn't have the best teams, home field really matters in the playoffs. And Brandon Staley's just not that guy, pal. He's really not.
no.
And I gotta go with with T Law, man. He's been
Mm-hmm.
hot. And as much as I'd love to see her prove the haters wrong, uh, I gotta go Jags. But Dolphins at Bills, the next game on the docket. I'm taking the Bills. I'm guessing you are as well.
Yeah, sorry. I just don't love Skylar Thompson.
Yeah.
I love Mike McDaniel. I don't like the Skylar Thompson. So
All right. So here's your chance. I'm on the fence on this one. So this might be the one that defers us depending on who you pick for the week. But Giants are going into Minnesota, and this is
Giants.
everybody's favorite upset pick of the week.
Giants. And I know it's its favorite, but um no, I just don't think Vikings game flow wise are gonna hold up. I think they're gonna get into too many passing situations. It's gonna get too predictable. And they're just gonna run right down their throat. I don't know if the Giants win a game past this. I think their ball is really predictable, but it's predictable. And even like a lot of teams are predictable. The Vikings are just not good against good teams. Plain and simple. And this is a very good team. Go with the Giants.
All right. You've settled me. I'm going with the Vikings.
Yeah.
And here's why. All right. This is going to be a close game. This will be the only time I pick the Vikings in the postseason. But I just don't know if the Giants are there yet. I don't see them stopping Justin Jefferson in the slightest. The last time they played, I believe the Vikings didn't even have TJ Hawkinson yet. So
No, they did
I
because
could be
it
wrong
was
about
on
that.
Thanksgiving and they only won because they had a 61-yard field goal.
You're right. Okay, so wrong stat. But the 61-yard field goal still proves my point. The Vikings have been winning one possession games all year. And I know it's extremely hard to beat a team twice. And I rarely ever do this. But home field advantage in Minnesota, I would love to see them lose. This is almost like when I would take the Packers picks and see them lose because it's worth the sacrifice, man. So I'm going with the Vikings. I think they're going to win one close game in the playoffs. The fans are gonna celebrate. They're gonna be one game away from the NFC Championship. And you know what? I wouldn't even be mad if they went to the NFC Championship and then got blown out in Philly again. But besides the point, I think the Vikings can beat the Giants this week, and we're going one game at a time. I've explained close game. This is who I want.
Yeah. No, fair take, man.
Fair take. And we got to differ at some point. We can't all be, we got to make it a little
No, yeah,
interesting.
that's fair. That is very fair.
Here's another one. I think I know who you're going to pick, but Ravens going into Cincinnati. They just played. What do you got?
Yeah, I just saw Lamar's probably going to be out as well. He didn't practice today. So Bengals by 40.
Yeah. I don't think it's by 40. This is a division matchup. And
No.
We've seen things like this before. This was actually what happened when the Bills set that comeback record way too long ago. They literally played the Oilers in week 17 at the time and came around playing again in the wild card and made that 32-point comeback or whatever it was. But I don't think that's happening. And you know what? To be quite honest, they also did it with a backup quarterback. So maybe I'm predicting something here. But and I didn't even remember all of that. But I don't know if the Bengals are going to go all the way again, but I think they're going to. I can't pick against Joe Cool in the playoffs until he proves me wrong, man. That's the bottom line. So riding with the Bengals. I'm interested to see where you go here. The boys are going to Tampa. Final game of the year.
The boys are going right back home.
Yeah.
I'm never going to bet against Tom Brady. Well, I mean, I might next week, but he is 7-0 against Cowboys in his career. Yeah, I'm going Tom Brady. And it's Cowboys. They played so bad last week, and they played all their starters.
Yeah,
it was a division game, but like it's not like Dak has been blowing the doors off. He tends to kind of sell in these close games, man. So
I'm going
I'll
Tampa
roll
as well.
Yeah.
I'm getting Beastquake vibes from this one, but I'm also just seeing the path where Tom Brady does it again, man. Yeah,
seeing the path. The road is there.
However, I want it to be said, man. And I'm tempted to take the Cowboys. I really am because this Bucks team is not it. But you will not catch me making this Max Kellerman-esque mistake. So I don't care if he loses. I'm taking the Bucks, and I'm putting all my money on the Vikings this week. In terms of the difference between me and you.
Yeah.
So that wraps up our show. This was a fun one, Superlatives Awards show. I'm interested to see how our awards shake out in a couple weeks. We get to the real award show that the NFL puts on. But thanks for listening, guys. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and we'll be pushing more content out to you guys. And we will be back on Sunday for our Wild Card Weekend Reaction podcast. So thanks again for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care.